Well, we just took a quiz, and this is 100% no different than last semester. No, this is now 6.3. We are finally done with 6.2. My goal is to have that quiz graded by the end of day today and have it in. Okay? Tomorrow. So this is 6.3, just so that we're aware. Just so we have fully documented. We're in 6.3, which is using, honestly, a lot of the pieces from 6.2. 6.2 covered a whole lot of stuff. 6.3 is not super duper new, except for one teeny tiny piece of, honestly, this page is really only where we're introducing it. And then after that, it's going to get really, really similar. So we've got the value of trig functions. We're going to be finding sine, cosine, tangent, all those guys of a number. I'm going to say find it of 3, 7, pi over 2. And the way we say that is we're going to be using t. And all t is theta. And t is always given to us in radians. Every single time. It is theta radians. Why they switched to t instead of theta, I don't know. But they do. It's a choice. So what this means is using this definition. If I say something like sine of 2, that means both. Find me the sine of 2 and sine at angle 2 radians. It's the same value. It is the same value. Which we're going to do using our unit circle. We're going to do it with triangles. Works the same way. We're also going to start being able to do these in the calculator with one caveat. You have to make sure the calculator is in radian mode. Most of the time, they're in degree mode. And I will show you how to change that once we get a chance to write this down. Okay? So if you're looking at the calculator, you literally hit the button that says mode, and the very top option will let you switch it to be radians. But I'll show you what it looks like here once I give everybody a chance to write this down. Okay? We still need to know what we're doing. We still need to know how to do it. But we're going to start being able to evaluate these using our calculators as well. Okay? Honestly, I'm going to recommend that we do calculators as like a check, at least to start. But we'll be able to use calculators on this. And most calculators have the first 3 trig functions. They'll have sine, they'll have cosine, they'll have tangent. Most of the time. Very, very few are going to have secant, cosecant, cotangent because they're reciprocals. So you need to know those relationships. Some calculators might only have sine and cosine because then we can find tangent. Relationships. Oh, snap. All right. I still see some people writing, so I'm going to leave it here for a second. And then I'll show you guys how to change the yellow calculators over to radians. And you will probably have to do that each day because my algebra classes, especially my 4th period, I'm going to show them to reset the memory every time to switch it back to degrees because it messes with stuff if you don't. It'll give you very strange answers sometimes. Okay. So to switch the yellow calculators over, you're going to hit the mode button up here at the top. It's right next to the second function. Second button. And it's literally blinking on degree right now for me. So you're going to hit the right arrow. And then you're going to hit enter. And now it's going to blink on radian. Ta-da! We've switched it to radian mode. Okay? That is how we do this. I do recommend leaving it on the math print. That's when it'll give you your, like, radical form stuff. So, but that's what this is. There's a whole bunch of things in here if you want to play with the modes, but that's how it is. So that officially puts us into radian mode, and you can see that up here on the top right of your screen. It has a very, very, very tiny red. It's so red, man. So if we're going to be doing anything with our sine, cosine, tangent, which the buttons are 2 rows above the top of the numbers, you got to make sure you're in radian mode, because we're always, always, always working sine, cosine, and tangent in radians. We're not working them in degrees. We're working them in radians. Otherwise, it calculates them funny. Okay? So if we go through, we could always go and type in sine of 2. It's going to give you a super gross decimal even right now. We're going to play with them a little bit and work on that. But we're going to remember what we just did, and part of it is actually related to what we just did. This is a question from 6.3, and it's very, very similar to a question we just had from 6.2, where we're going to look and find all 6 trig functions given a point. So I've given myself a circle up here. It's not super duper critical if you have like a fully proper circle, but we're going to look at this point. -3/5, -4/5. Why one negative is to the side and one's on the top? I don't know. It's called formatting is fun. So we're going to remember how to do this with a point before we go and do it with t. Okay, so -3/5, -4/5 is going to be in which quadrant? Third. Okay, so it's down here somewhere. So -3/5, -4/5, somewhere down yonder-ish. And what I know is that my x's are -3/5. And my y is our -4/5. What's our radius? What's this? Yeah. So let's do it with a Pythagorean. So we're going to take our -3/5 squared plus our -4/5 squared, and that's going to equal our radius squared. So, what do we get when we simplify? What is -3/5 squared? 9/25. And -4/5 squared? 16/25. So what is 9/25 plus 16/25? Plus 25/25. -4 squared. Got to square both of them. So what's our radius? 1. Means this sucker's on a unit circle. The unit circle has a radius of 1. So let's find, bless you, sine of p. P being the point, this guy. If this is our theta, because we always are dealing with that degree that's in the center, what is the sine of point P? Negative 4 over 5 over 1. Or negative 4/5. When we're on the unit circle, it's going to wind up being lots of pieces of our ordered pairs. So we're going to have the sine being the y. Our cosine of p is what? Negative 3/5. Yeah. Tangent might take us some thought. Tangent of p yeah, so we're going to have our negative 4/5 over negative 3/5. What does that simplify down to be? Say it with confidence, y'all. I can't hear you over the mop machine in the hall. The Zamboni's going. Not 1. Let's write it out. So my top, we've got negative 4/5. If we're dividing by a fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. 5 over negative 3. So the 5s cancel. The negatives cancel. And we get 4/3. So how about cosecant? Negative 5 over 4. It is the reciprocal of sine. Secant. 5 over 3. And cotangent. 3 over 4. It's the reciprocal of tangent. We only have to figure it out once. The reason I asked us about this quadrant is that helps us remember that both sine and cosine are negative, which means our tangent is going to wind up being positive. Okay? So the next one we're going to do, I'm going to give you a t. So this is what we just introduced. T, remember that t is theta. And so this is 0 radians. Once we have t, if you want to, you can start using the calculator on it. T of 0, theta of 0, it's on our unit circle. Where is that if our theta is 0? Remember, our initial side is here. What ordered pair is theta of 0 going to be at? From here, 0, 1. It hasn't moved. It's right there. Theta of 0, right there. We can still evaluate it there. So sine of t. What is the sine of 0? Or sine of t? Remember, sines are y. How far up did it go? 0. You can also start doing this with our sine of 0. And it gives us 0. Like, you can use the buttons. How about cosine of t? 1. Yeah. Remember, these are always, our ordered pairs are cosine and sine. What about tangent? Because remember, tangent is sine over cosine, 0 over 1. Or 0. How about cosecant? Because what do we do with it to find cosecant? It's the reciprocal. So this was 0 over 1, right? Now it's 1 over 0. What is cosecant? One over 0. 1 over 0? Undefined. Do not divide by 0. Undefined is a valid answer to have. Okay? It's allowed to be undefined. And that is not the same thing as being 0. All right, how about secant? 1. And cotangent? Undefined. Okay? We will play with more of these tomorrow, playing with t being our theta, being the angle, and things are going to be based off the unit circle. Also be practicing the unit circle. We're going to have our unit circle quiz this week. All that jazz. Okay? Unit circle quiz is Thursday. And then we also have another quiz on Friday. Yep, quiz 2. To be fair, I didn't set the schedule. 6-2 and 6-3 and 4. Because both 6-3 and 6-4 are very heavily based on 6-2. So like we're not adding tons new. We'll have a smidge that's new tomorrow and a smidge that's new on Wednesday, and then everything after that's kind of reviewed. And I will have another review sheet, but we won't have another review day. Okay, so I'll have a review page, but we won't have a whole day to work on it again. That was kind of trying to let the other class catch up because the other pre-cal teacher was out for a week at the start of the semester. So they had videos, and they're trying to catch up. They're doing quiz 1 on Wednesday. And then I think they're going to do quiz 2 on Monday, and then they'll be caught up. I think. They might still do Friday. I don't know. She's a little hardcore about it.